Hello and welcome to Comic History. Today we are looking at the history of Tony Stark Iron Man. Tony Stark made his first appearance in 1962 Tales of Suspense issue 39, created by Stan Lee, Larry Lieber, Don Heck and Jack Kirby. When in Vietnam, Tony was making weapons for the U.S. government until he set off a booby trap that lodged a piece of shrapnel into his chest. He was later kidnapped by the terrorist leader Wong Chu. He told Tony that the shrapnel will hit his heart, and then he promised him if he work on a weapon for him he would save Tony's life. Tony, knowing that Wong Chu is lying, began to build an armor and a device that enabled his heart to keep beating with the help of another captive, Ho Insen. Donning his suit, Iron Man is born and escapes with the sacrifice of Insen. Later he meets James Rhodes, a pilot for the United States Marines who have been shot down by enemy forces. He and Tony team up and fight the enemies and manage to get to an American base in 1980 Iron Man issue 144. When he came to the United States, he redesigned the chest plate that was keeping him alive, so he can wear it under his normal clothing. He then showed off the Model 1 Iron Man armor to the public and told the people that he would manufacture the suit and sell it just to hide the armor origins. Later, a group of terrorists attack a tennis match that Tony and his then-fiancée Joanna Nivina, who urged him to wear the armor and stop the terrorist. Tony does so and Iron Man publicly became a superhero. In issue 244, in a flashback, wanting to have anonymity and making the Model 1 gold, Tony told the public that Iron Man was his bodyguard. Only his trusted aides, Happy Hogan, Tony's chauffeur, and Pepper Potts, his secretary, who appear in Tales of Suspense issue 45. Later in 1963, he and other heroes Thor, Hulk, Ant-Man, and the Wasp team up to fight Loki and form the Avengers and then make his mansion into the Avengers Mansion. In Tales of Suspense issue 48, Tony fights Mr. Doll, who defeated Iron Man using a voodoo doll. After his defeat, Tony made a new Iron Man armor, the Model 2, and defeated Mr. Doll. Later in issue 50, he fights his most recurring enemy, the Mandarin. In Avengers issue 4, he and the other Avengers, beside Hulk who left in issue 2, finds the frozen form of Captain America. Later in issue 16, he sponsored the membership of Hawkeye, who joins the team after Tony takes a leave of absence. In Avengers issue 93, Tony teamed up with the Avengers to fight the Kree and the Skrull in the Kree-Skrull War event. In 2006 New Avengers Illuminati, in the wake of the Kree-Skrull War, Tony goes to Wakanda for a meeting with Professor X, Mr. Fantastic, Black Bolt, Doctor Strange and Namor, and forms a secret group called the Illuminati. They soon went to the Skrull homeworld and threatened them not to attack Earth ever again, but they were soon captured. Lucky Tony managed to set them free and they returned to Earth. In Tales of Suspense issue 66, he starts wearing the Model 3 armor. And Iron Man issue 19 underwent heart surgery, so he can't wear his chest plate. In issue 50, Tony stopped making weapons and now uses his company to sell other technology. In 1973 Avengers issue 115, he and the Avengers fought the Defenders in the Avengers Defenders War storyline. Then he and the other heroes of Earth fought Thanos to stop him from using the Cosmic Cube in the Thanos War event. In 1982, he and other heroes were abducted by the Grand Master and Death in Contest of Champions event. In Iron Man issue 85, after fighting the Freak, the Model 3 armor was damaged, so Tony made a new suit, the Model 4 armor. He later began to have drinking problems due to stress. It is made worse after Justin Hammer took control of the armor, making Tony kill a foreign ambassador in issue 124. After defeating Justin Hammer and clearing his name, he still feels guilty for what happened to the ambassador, which led him to drink more, causing his butler Jarvis to quit. In issue 128, Bethany Cabe, the person who he was dating at the time, urges him to stop drinking and spends days with him to stop his addiction. He does so and makes up with Jarvis. In issue 142, Tony builds the Model 5 Iron Man suit, the space armor. In issue 152, he made the Model 7, the stealth armor. Obadiah Stane made a plan to ruin Tony's life and take his company. After sending countless bad guys and ruining his life, Tony went back to drinking in issue 166. In issue 169, while drunk, he fights the villain Magma and gets defeated and then retreats. He then tells Rhodey that his Iron Man after that magma attacks again, and still being drunk, Rhodey took it upon himself to become the new Iron Man in issue 170. In issue 182, while in a snowstorm and homeless, he tries to help his friend Gretel, who is on the verge of giving childbirth with no hospital nearby or a place to get inside. Tony helps her give birth and keeps the baby warm. When help arrives, he and the baby were the only ones alive. After this, Tony stopped drinking and put his life back together. After regaining sobriety, he, Rhodey and two other friends, Morley and Clytemnestra Irwin, made a new company called Circuits Maximus in issue 187. In issue 191 and 192, Tony rebuilt the Model 1 suit after Rhodey going insane due to the Iron Man helmet never being calibrated to his brain patterns. The two fight and then later make up. In issue 199, Stain learned about Tony's recovery, so he blew up Circuits Maximus, killing Morley and injuring Rhodey. In the next issue, Seeking Vengeance, Tony wears a new suit, the Model 8, the Silver Centurion. He fights Stain, who is now the Ironmonger. He defeats him and later joins the West Coast Avengers.